you. Michelle, our great partners at Salesforce made a really good point that data is the fuel of the new economy. What her needs are. I wanted to share some data that was released at the end of the year by IDC. They made certain predictions about where retail technology and data and analytics would be going in support of consumers. Three things that I think are really interesting. First, they predict by a couple of years from now that 95% of retailers will start using Gen AI. 50% will use those AI tools to create contextualized recommendations. In other words, not one size fit all, but very tailored. And finally, 65% will use contextual ads in retail media networks, something you just heard Michelle talk about. So these are three big trends that you really want to stay on top of. Become something you can use. What happened is we had at first a lot of data from unstructured sources like new social media or video. And then companies like AWS created scalable, massive computing at a really low cost. It used to be you had to build a lot of servers and a lot of data centers. Now you can just get that capacity from a cloud provider. And then finally, the tipping point is the innovation in what we call machine learning, a specific area of artificial intelligence that has become the standard, and one at Amazon we've used to improve our own business for the last 15 years. Ending of your customer, merchandising and planning, so that you've got the right assortment at the right time, at the right place. Digital commerce is the province of AI-driven personalization. It is a platform that is designed for you to have a very intimate, sticky relationship with the consumer where you can learn about them and react accordingly. These other areas like stores and applications, insights, and supply chain are the recipients of that insight. You learn a lot about the customer, you start thinking about your response, and then you instruct these other areas like in stores, can your store associates be more informed about how to serve a customer? Or intelligent supply chain, can you route your deliveries to make sure you can make a 2-day promise like we do at Amazon Prime? Garbage, you will end with garbage, and there's no generative AI tool in the world that will change that. So the first thing you must do is really take care that you have trust in the data that you're using. You first need to be able to collect data, and increasingly, you're going to get data from a wide variety of sources. In the past, we would just have 3 or 4 or 5 data points that we use for customers. Now we're using everything. We're using weather or fashion trends or election results to start informing what customers might be doing. And the number of data points will increase exponentially forever. Second of all, you need to have your data in one place, right? You have to unify it. If you have it in a bunch of disparate silos, and if it's not normalized, you'll end up with suboptimal results. The analyze phase is what we're going to talk about in a moment. How can you turn data into insights, things you can actually use, and ultimately you can act upon. Using data to make her life better. How does her journey inform what we do, as it always should? If you think about her own process, she starts with discovery. What do you do in that sense? You want to delight her. You want to give her information that brings her imagination to play and gets her excited. Engage and evaluate. How do you qualify and know that the customer is ready for a transaction? How do you understand which customer is ready to buy? Ultimately, when they get close to a purchase, how you make it easy for the customer. You may have heard of our Just Walk Out, where you can just pick something and walk out the door. That project started with customer insights, where customers told us their least favorite part of shopping was the checkout. Now I know the least favorite part of anything is paying for it, so we got that. But lines and waiting and having to wait for someone, that was the least delightful part of the shopping experience. You want to be able to ship effectively. If there's a problem, you want to be able to manage effectively. And most importantly, you don't want your customer to be a one-time customer. You want to have repeat customers, which means loyalty. All of these are driven by the oil of that engine, which is data. Then operational data. Yes, sometimes we put them together. I'm not saying they should be in different places or you need to have silos, but always look at the customer on her own merits. Sometimes we will look at the customer only in the context of how she does business with us. So we look at our POS logs, we look at her activity on our website. Well, she has a life that goes well beyond her relationship with us. How do we bring that in? Because if we can't be a good fellow traveler. Conversely, your operational systems, you want to be able to judge their effectiveness directly. So you should have good KPIs for demand and supply side systems, so you really can understand your performance and not always be guessing at it customer by customer. Foundation, and there's a lot of technologies that you can use, but it's important to understand that there are different kinds of data. On one hand, there's structured data. That's what we've always used. You can put it in a database. You can take it directly and it fits nicely. On the other extreme is what we call unstructured data. Think about video that comes out of a video analytics system, or social media commentary, or location-based sensing. These things are not really generally structured. And then there's another category that's sort of semi-structured, where you can use it, but it probably needs some transformation. You need to store in a single usable place. You need to use a wide variety of tools to analyze. Don't think that there's one tool, one magic crystal ball that will tell you everything about your customer. Instead, think of a Swiss Army knife or tools for tasks. Small, lightweight analytics that can be designed specifically for a purpose. And the last thing is, you want your insights to be actionable. So think about the output of data as being something like an instruction or KPI, or API. The idea is that increasingly we're going to do things like process automation, where you should be able to go from insight directly to an action. So for example, I'm going to show you in a moment, think about marketing messaging. If you learn something about a customer, there should be no intervention. Your system should be able to say, I have realized this customer will have a propensity or an interest in this area, let's send that marketing message. Now, with the tools and data and analytics we have, we can start to think about a market of one. We can think about this customer. Think about when you go to Amazon.com, for example, how we are trying to listen to not just your purchase behavior, but what you browsed, what you shopped, any other information like what you watched on Amazon Prime, to inform us about what kind of interest you may have. 3 AWS users have shared some data with us that I wanted to share with you. Amazon itself says that 35% of its sales comes from those proactive recommendations based on analytics. Netflix tells us that 75% of the streaming time of videos that people watch on Netflix comes from those proactive recommendations that come out of Gen AI and AI. And at Spotify, 30% of people's listening time is actually through those recommendations, which is really interesting because Spotify has playlists. You've already declared what you want to listen to. They're analyzing that and saying, you may also like this. So showing an opportunity comes from our industry. So how about that? For once, we're the leaders, not the laggards, and we're going to teach the rest of other industries how to use technology. There were 4 problems, though, that I want to call out you want to watch for as you think about personalizing. The first is what we call a cold start problem. You don't know much about your customer yet when you first have a customer. You start to build understanding, but you got to start somewhere. Where do you start? The second is that we are too opportunistic in our communication. We care about our events and our marketing calendar and what we decided to do, and we're not thinking about that customer who has her own schedule and her own life, and are we centering around her rather than our own marketing calendar? Third, that idea of one size fits all. Personalization is not about finding 5 personas and bucketing everyone into it. That's not personalization. And finally, there is art, not only science to this. It's not just about math. You have a brand, you have a successful business, you have a philosophy of how you want to engage with your customers. You don't want some machine telling you what you're going to do. The machine informs you, it doesn't tell you what to do. So never lose sight of the fact that these are tools meant to make your own business better. They're not meant to replace your judgment. You need to do. The first we've discussed, which is that you really need to double and triple down on that customer data. The second is very important. Think omnichannel. Think omnichannel. Too often we are putting silos of, here's my email communications, and here's my advertising strategy, and here's my in-store promotion strategy, or my planogram. All of these departments work independently. Instead, have a single insight that informs all of your departments, and make sure you're working collectively, so when the consumer is on that journey, you're a fellow traveler and you can anticipate and work with her at each step of the way. Third, you cannot start too early on modern analytics and business logic. Sometimes it looks intimidating, but these modern tools, it's best to jump in and start trying them out. And finally, don't lose sight of marketing technology. This is everything from CRM, like our good friends at Salesforce have some terrific things in Marketing Cloud, all the way down to last mile communications like messaging platforms. All of these are merging fast. Don't assume you already know the states. Keep on top of it. At every step in that journey we've been talking about, Gen AI can enhance the customer experience. Think about early on where you could have a digital assistant helping you with guided selling. So the customer is browsing on a website or a kiosk and it's anticipating and talking like a chatbot. The assistant can even create a cart for you. Like say, here's the collection of things that would really be best for you, right? You can do cross-selling. And finally, all the way at the end, you could do really easy, low friction checkout where they say, okay, I've got your credit card information. Should I go ahead and send it to you? Yes, done, right? You can see some of the numbers that our research team have come up with. We believe you can get a 4 times improvement in conversion size and a 20 to 30% increase in sales. These are numbers that we've worked with McKinsey to validate. We're very confident that you have a huge opportunity when you use these tools in a programmatic and logical way as we're discussing. So here you can see on the left is a screwdriver description. Yes, it's just a standard description, probably came from the manufacturer. It's sitting on your web page. On the right, it has been modified based on information that we know about that customer, right? So it's not static content anymore. The screwdriver's description might be informed by, oh, I know that you're a very experienced handyman. You're somebody who does home improvement projects frequently. I saw that you bought power tools as well as hand tools, so you're probably pretty adept. All of this information changes the product description so it makes more sense to that customer. The irritating thing in the world is you get that email that says, Dear blank, because the machine didn't think to even fill in your name. I mean, what worse way is there? How contemptuous is it for us to be sending mass mailings and mass emails at a time when we could do so much better? On the left, you see a standardized campaign email. On the right, you can see that Gen AI has adjusted it based on what I knew about the customer, so it's personalized, and it feels like you cared enough to understand the customer and not just slamming them with some spam. Get used to it, because it's here to stay, and it's going to be a big part of how we turn data into insights, and insights into value. Always thinking of that customer and working backwards from her. With that, again, let me thank you very much for having the opportunity to speak to you a little bit about these issues. Enjoy the rest of your day.